let's talk Pixel smartphones. New generation of Pixel phones, Pixel 8 and 8 Pro. Right off the top, more expensive than last year. We've got plus $100 for each of them, $999 and $699. So $699 for the Pixel 8, $999 for the Pixel 8 Pro. And so with these higher prices, we go, well, what's new about them? What's more expensive? What's better about them? And there's quite a few interesting things. I'll start with the new
temperature
Tensor
sensor.
It's on the list, but I can't say I think it made it more expensive. No, I'll start Tensor G3. That's going to be in both. I think I have a lot of hopes just about efficiency and battery life, and Tensor G2 was okay, but it wasn't good. And so I think, I think what we're hoping is that Tensor G3 gives us maybe not a huge improvement on raw power, because that wasn't necessarily what was bad about it, but it was just inefficient and it was not great with batteries. So we're hoping for that to be better. But naturally, the focus of Tensor G3 is the TPU, a lot of AI-related features, and we'll get to those. But Tensor G3. But then there's the other two new things, which is new cameras and new screens with these phones. So there's the two different sizes. Pixel 8 and 8 Pro are different sizes. Also, the 8 Pro is a higher resolution, as always. But also now, the Pixel 8 is 120 hertz. So it's no longer, it was 90 hertz previously. So it's up to 120 hertz. It's not LTPO. I think it's
60 and 120.
Yeah, 60 and 120. The Pro is still LTPO. It'll go all the way down to 1 hertz. They're all also both flat, I'll just say that. So they're not like curving over the edge on the Pro, which I think is nice. The bezels look pretty much the same all the way around. There's no more chin. Remember how we had like a chin on the previous Pixels that's slowly been shrinking over the years? It feels like it's pretty much even all the way around. And then they felt the need to name this new brightness, but they are legitimately some of the brightest screens I've ever seen in smartphones. And this is just from the hour that I spent with it, but they're calling it an Actua display on the Pixel 8 and a Super Actua display on the 8 Pro. 2,000 nits on the Pixel 8 and 2,400 nits on the Pixel 8 Pro. I will be fact-checked on this, but I'm fairly sure that's the brightest smartphone screen I've ever seen in my life.
I think the same as the Oppo Find X6 Pro, right?
Okay. It might be. I don't know.
I
but
think so.
I looked at it and I said, oh my God, this is the brightest screen I've ever seen in my life.
There's probably like
so
a
bright.
Lumia from like 7 years ago where its one feature was like 3,000 nits.
But it is genuinely very impressive. And I know that when I take these things outside, they're going to look great outside.
Oppo claims it can reach 2,500.
Oh, there you go.
So Oppo is technically still slightly brighter.
My bad. But still, on a Pixel, usually you don't get crazy big hardware numbers on Pixels. It's all about the software, but that was cool to see. 8 gigs of RAM with Tensor G3. Battery sizes are both like a tiny bit bigger than last year, not like a meaningful amount. I think we'll still look for Tensor to give us that difference in efficiency. And then new cameras. Same primary camera on both. It's, I believe, a 50 megapixel sensor. Then you get either the 12 megapixel ultra wide on the Pixel 8, or you get a 48 megapixel ultra wide with macro on the 8 Pro, alongside a 48 megapixel 5x telephoto on the 8 Pro. So we got a new camera suite.
I didn't notice that. Wait, so they left the worst ultra wide in the regular one and gave you a better ultra wide with macro in the Pro?
In the Pro.
Yeah. I think this year they definitely are trying to justify the price hike.
Gap?
The price gap.
Yeah, because it's still a $300 difference between the phones.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking at it, like those two phones, $300 apart, have the same Tensor G3, have the same primary camera, and both have incredibly bright 120 hertz displays. That's, you got to really start to squint again to find the differences between them. And it's going to be like, okay, an extra telephoto camera, extra resolution if you want it, which is not even on by default, like stuff like that. But that's the main hardware differences. And then once you get into using the phones, it is all software, baby. It is the classic Pixel story of, and I think this is probably going to be the theme of the review.
8 and 12 gigs of RAM. Did you say that?
Oh, 12 on the Pro?
12 on the Pro.
Yeah.
Okay, 8 gigs of RAM on the 8, 12 on the Pro.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, you get more RAM. Will anybody pay $300 to get more RAM? I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's there.
Yeah.
But I think, the story with the Pixel is definitely that you kind of just accept that the hardware is just going to be fine. And they've had this design for a couple years now with the visor. And I was actually just thinking about this. The visor, which is like so iconic to the Pixel, it still collects dust like in the corners right above and below it. You had this with your Pixel, right? It just like...
It seems to be something that like a lot of these newer... It specifically happens with the Pixel because of the big visor, but just filming a lot of macros with iPhones, the new lenses on the new iPhones do it all around the circles as well.
That's
like it's
true.
bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's so annoying to do
Especially
robot
if you have a
shots.
case, but like cleaning that out is so annoying.
And I use a case or use the case on my Pixel, and when I go climbing, I take the case off and there's just chalk
yeah.
caked on both of them.
Yeah.
On like the top and the bottom of the visor. Yeah.
So you're not. I guess my point is you're not buying the Pixel for the hardware quality. It's still gonna look like a Pixel. It still has. I think there's new colors and there's like a satin back on the Pro, which is I
On
like
both,
satin
right?
back. Or sorry, yeah, on both.
Yeah.
Is it both?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is sweet.
They're matte textured, like
Yeah.
they're like a satin / like velvety satin is a good way to
Which
put
I
it.
really appreciate on
Yeah.
the new iPhones as well. But you're really buying it because it's the smartest smartphone. It's got Google Assistant. You're talking about call screening. I use call screening a lot,
Wait, no, wait, really?
Before we get into that,
Oh yeah.
all the time.
I'm just going to iterate that doesn't mean all the Pixel hardware sucks.
It's not
It just
bad.
means
No, it's
the software is incredible, and that's why you're buying it.
I guess what I'm saying is if you want to buy a smartphone because it has the craziest, biggest numbers and the best hardware, you're not buying the Pixel. It's just not the Pixel. It's either some Xiaomi or Oppo or Samsung phone. They all have bigger, more
Xperia.
impressive numbers. Xperia, I don't know. There's like a
4K
slight
screen.
tilt to the camera stuff there, but like you think about 100x zoom, when you think about 75 watt charging, like that's not the Pixel
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
But
I
what
just
you're
want to
gonna
make
get-
sure.
Sure.
I know there's people who took
No,
that
I'll-
thing or trying.
I'll take it.
Okay.
My words, I mean what I say. I mean what I say.
Now, sorry, I interrupted a Ellis Marquez call screening conversation I was ready for.
So I regularly get calls from random numbers that I don't know, and 5 times out of 10, it's a delivery, and the other 5 times, I'm so glad I had call screening because it's just a random person, and you just hit the button and it says screen my call, and it's just some guy going, "Is this Marquez?" And I just hit hang up, or it's just a delivery person going like, "Hi, I'm outside," and then I like pick up, or I just say like, "Yeah, you can leave the package" or whatever.
Do they stay on the phone?
No, so a lot of people. That's another good point. Probably 3 or 4 out of 10 times, when the assistant is done answering the phone, they just hang up right away, and I just never find out who it was, and that's fine too.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
have
true.
to talk on the phone. But this year, the new call assistant is both much more human sounding and will give you context-aware chips to press to respond based on what it hears the person say.
Yeah.
Which means
Pretty
if a UPS driver calls me and it's an unknown number and I don't pick up unknown numbers and I hit screen call and it says, "Hey, I'm a Google Assistant screening this call. Who are you?" And it sounds like a human and the person doesn't pick up, they will say, "Hi, I'm the UPS driver. I have a package for you." Without me even picking up the call, it will show a box that I can press that just says, "Leave it on the front porch," or something like that.
Yeah.
I press it, it says it in a human voice, and the person probably doesn't even think twice about the fact that it's a robot, and they'll just do it. And I don't
As
have to
long
talk
as they
on the
don't
phone.
hang up immediately
Yeah.
when they hear I'm a Google Assistant.
I think because the last one sounded such a like robotic,
Yeah.
people hung up early.
yeah, this one sounds really
This one
natural.
sounds like a person.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
In theory, I think this sounds great. I'll be interested to see how it does, because that last one, I don't know a single person that ever stayed on the line long enough for the old call screening to ever like.
Fair.
We're just so used to getting robocalls.
Have you heard the new voice?
I heard the new voice. It does sound better. It's
pretty good.
There's a lot of spam calls that sound really damn good these days too, and I turn that shit off immediately. So,
I guess it's just if you're calling someone, you're already expecting to hear a voice pick up.
yeah.
So they might not even process the first 2 words, which are like, "I am a Google Assistant."
Here's my counter to that. There are FedEx people who knock on my door when I'm home, who don't even knock on the door. They just put the missed delivery slip on before even knocking. You think those people are going to like listen to my robot assistant
They probably
answer?
won't. They probably won't.
They
But
ain't got time.
if they do go through the trouble of calling and they were expecting a human to pick up, this accomplishes the same task.
Does this new one, can it make reservations for you, or are we just done with the reservation?
That
thing?
is a separate feature. So this is just screening incoming
okay.
calls. I don't know that this new voice will apply to that. I don't know.
just
Good
wondering.
question.
We'll see.
Good
We'll
question.
see.
It'd be nice if
Or
it
is
was
it just something Google
updated
killed again?
system-wide. Yeah, I don't know.
This actually probably should be killed. But there's a bunch of new other software stuff. There's a new camera UI. I think it looks better. It's kind of separated into photos and videos at the bottom, and then there's all the sort of controls right above it.
Yeah.
Night sight video got added. There's a bunch of new HDR processing. Looks just better in general. I mean, we'll have to test for quality.
The manual controls are dope.
They look really good.
There are
very
so many
intuitive.
manual controls, and it like puts aperture, ISO, and shutter speed at the top in these little bars, and you can just adjust them. And it has focus peaking.
Nice.
Like for photography
That's
nerds,
nice,
it's
yeah.
really, really built out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna put how to get people to like and subscribe into Google Fibonacci.
Oh,
I don't even think. Oh, into Google Fibonacci.
Okay, so the output says like and subscribe.
Oh, you can only like if you subscribe.
Is that actually isn't that the Fibonacci sequence they just discovered? The one where
Yeah,
you
it's Fibonacci 2.
Yeah, it goes 1, 3, like, subscribe, 10,
Yes. Comment.
42,
40.
comment,
Yeah.
tweet.
Andrew, you know the song. David, sing it with me. 1,
Universe,
3, like, subscribe, 10, 42, comment.
It sounds like a ham at a church.